This is your News Source Evening Bulletin for today, Tuesday, the 2nd day of September in the year 2025. I'm Gordon Mosley reporting, and here is what we're tracking tonight. Tonight, the Guyana Elections Commission is continuing its tabulation of the votes from across the country. But the General Secretary of the People's Progressive Party Civic, Vice President Jagdeo, has said that based on his party's own tabulation of the statements of poll, it has not only won the elections, but will be heading into the parliament with a bigger majority. Mr. Jagdeo, in an interview with News Source, noted that the Elections Commission has been uploading the copies of the statements of poll to its website. And with more than 98% of those statements completed, a calculation would show his party moving back into government with a majority. Mr. Jagdeo said the PPP became aware of that when it completed its own tabulation of the results early this morning.
About 5 a.m. this morning, we completed the internal tabulation and we knew the results because we had about 99% of the SOPs and then we used, and then the remaining 1% we used the tally sheets where we did not receive the SOPs as yet. We're good at mathematics. We're good in 2020 at mathematics, and we're good at mathematics again. And it's simple now. The elections are over. It's now a question of mathematics. And anyone who can use a calculator would know the results.
While he urged the nation to await the official results from the Elections Commission, the PPP General Secretary said his party is very comfortable with all that has been seeing.
The PPP will go into the National Assembly with a bigger majority than it did in 2020. That's very clear from the trend you were seeing and from the gap between our total votes and that of WIN, APNU, and all the other small parties combined. There is a substantial difference between the votes we garnered at the elections and what they did combined. So clearly, we'll have an increased majority in the parliament.
He told News Source that while there was talk of the PPP returning to government with a minority, the vote's still a different story. Jagdeo said the voters have spoken and have handed a majority to the PPP to govern the country for the next 5 years.
In Region 1, we still won Region 1. We increased our votes in Region 9. We won it outright. We increased our votes in Region 8. We won it outright. We didn't win it in 2020. We had 43% of the votes. And I think in Region 7, we're holding around the same percentage as we got in 2020. Where is this big denting of the PPP support? Where did it happen? You know, you have pockets of people who, even our strongholds, had voted APNU in the past. They voted for WIN. Did not happen. They were miscalculating this variable.
In thanking supporters and party workers and candidates, Mr. Jagdeo said a re-elected PPP government will govern for all of the people. He said polling day went well and the Guyana Elections Commission did a good job at hosting the elections. Even as supporters have started the celebrations on social media and in some small communities, Mr. Jagdeo emphasized that the final and official results will come from the Guyana Elections Commission. More news coming up in just a moment.
Your own home is so much more than just 4 walls, floors, and ceilings. It's a lifetime of great memories and stories. Come talk to us and start your journey home today.
Republic Bank, we're the one for you.
Courts presents the Home Events 2025, happening now at Court stores nationwide. It's the perfect time to refresh your home. Come explore new arrivals, best sellers, and deals you can't resist. Discover the widest range of stylish furniture, cutting-edge TVs, audio systems, and appliances that are smart and energy efficient, all backed by the Court's low price guarantee. Our experts will help you choose what you need for your home. Shop with Court's Ready Finance and get more. Don't miss the Courts Home Event 2025. Courts, bringing value home.
Despite figures showing a crushing loss in the stronghold of Region 10 and defeats in other regions, presidential candidate for the APNU Aubrey Norton is holding on to hope and still believes that his party has a pathway to victory, though slim, in these elections. Early numbers today show that the party has lost serious ground in several of its strongholds.
Yes, I believe there's a pathway to victory for our party. I want to say to our supporters, thanks for the support we have gotten during the election. Be patient. We're keeping on top of it. We will do anything to ensure that the results of these elections are the true results. We will stay on top of it to ensure that no irregularities occur at this stage. And we do believe once there are no irregularities, then there's a pathway to victory.
Based on early results, the We Invest in Nationhood Party has flipped the Region 10 area into its hand and will take control of the Regional Council, according to the results.
We have enjoyed support in Linden. We're well aware that the government really ostracized Linden and that the level of poverty in Linden is very high. And unfortunately, in these elections, a lot of money played its role. And I think Linden might have been the victim of the money that was circulated. But such a thing is short-lived. We will regroup, do what we have to do, and we guarantee you we will regain Linden.
Back in 2020, the APNU AFC gained more than 20,000 votes in Region 10. This time around, the APNU gained just over 5,000 votes. Although low voter turnout has been reported in Region 4, the traditional stronghold of the APNU, Norton said he believes that they can still pull it through.
It is not worrying. What is, like I said, once we continue the trend and we are winning in Region 4, we recognize that in some of the communities we became involved and got some votes. But it's not really worrying, it's a concern.
He admitted that his party will not get close to the numbers achieved in 2015 and 2020, and that this is due to the low turnout of voters.
I am confident. All the areas had low voter turnout, and so we will get nowhere close to where we were in 2015 and 2020. I think the low voter turnout is an indication that people are becoming tired of the political system, and we need to sit down and rework it and come again.
Norton said it appears as though people are getting tired of the political system and there needs to be a dialogue on the way forward. He believes that his party can work and come back stronger to regain lost ground in the future, especially in Linden and Region 10. He said the APNU fought a good fight in elections 2025. The new kid on the political block, the We Invest in Nationhood Party win is on a high as results continue to come in from across the country. While it appears as though the new political party has performed better than expected in many areas, the governing PPP remains confident of victory. The Guyana Elections Commission has been publishing the statements of poll on its website from across the country. In many of the regions, the Win Party picked up a considerable number of votes, and party sources have said they are confident of doing extremely well and winning in a number of the electoral districts. The party appears to have made serious inroads in Regions 1, 5, 7, 8, 9, and 10, along with Region 4 also. However, the PPP remains confident of victory. The party has said that the turnout in a number of communities will be examined. The voter turnout was low across the country. PPP Vice President Jagdeo indicated that based on the numbers, the turnout may have been lower than the last elections. Across the Congress Place, the APNU appears to be badly bruised and wounded with the results it is facing, especially in Linden Region 10, Bartica Region 7, and parts of Region 4. In Linden and Region 10, the party has found itself being trounced by the new party, WIN. At some polling stations where it picked up the highest number of votes, the WIN party was trailing in a close second place, and in other areas, the WIN party was way ahead. Additionally, party officials in the town of Linden and region appeared dogged by a low voter turnout across Region 10 as in other parts of the country. One party official said the voter turnout appears to be lower than 40%, but they could not confirm that figure. The Alliance for Change has not performed at all in the early available results. The party has already issued a thank you message on its social media pages. The other two parties in the race, the Forward Guyana Movement and the Assembly for Liberty and Prosperity, appear to have been grounded before any takeoff. The CARICOM Election Observer Mission issued its preliminary report today and said the elections were conducted peacefully, despite pre-election concerns by some political parties. The chief of mission, Josephine Tamai, who is the chief election officer of Belize, told reporters that the Guyana Elections Commission must be allowed to conclude the electoral process.
We urge all Guyanese to remain calm, peaceful, and patient while awaiting the official results of the general and regional elections. The relevant authorities must be allowed the space to carry out their duties thoroughly and transparently. Now more than ever, Guyanese must stand together and put country first. Remember that the strength of the nation lies in its unity, resilience, and commitment to the democratic process.
Tamai is leading a 10-member mission which has been in Guyana since the 26th of August, observing the electoral process. On Monday, the CARICOM team observed the election process in regions 3, 4, 5, 6, and 10. A total of 324 polling stations were visited. Tamai said based on the mission's preliminary findings, the elections were smoothly conducted in a peaceful environment, and the Elections Commission ought to be commended for a job well done.
The CEOM is of the view that on election day, voters were able to exercise their franchise in a peaceful and orderly manner without significant incident. The team observed no signs of intimidation, harassment, or campaigning intended to influence or obstruct the democratic process.
The CARICOM Observer Mission said at the opening of polls there was adequate police presence, and despite pre-election concerns about the shortage of polling day workers, all polling stations were adequately staffed and professionally manned. It was noted that with the exception of one polling station, which opened at about 6:40 a.m. due to the late arrival of voting compartments, all other polling stations observed opened on time. It was noted that a late opening of the single polling station did not result in voters being disenfranchised, as all voters were given the opportunity to exercise their franchise.
While voter turnout appeared slow for a significant portion of the day, polling staff remained focused on their duties, ensuring all eligible voters who presented themselves were able to cast their ballots.
On the downside, the team observed inconsistencies in relation to the positioning of the voting compartments due to the varying interpretations of the guidelines provided by the Elections Commission. It said despite the variation, the voting procedures were generally conducted in accordance with the guidelines set out by the Elections Commission.
The COM also observed that some polling stations were not located on the ground floor. This presented a challenge for elderly and disabled voters, which is an important consideration for future planning.
Meanwhile, even as the tabulation process unfolds, Tamai said the CARICOM Election Observer team is pleased with the legislative changes that were instituted for the uploading of the statements of poll to GECOM's website to improve transparency in the process. The team will wrap up its mission tomorrow and depart Guyana. A comprehensive report on the country's elections will be submitted to the CARICOM Secretariat in the coming weeks.
Mama, no, meu canal.
much more than just four walls, floors, and ceilings. It's a lifetime of great memories and stories. Come talk to us and start your journey home today.
Republic Bank, we're the one for you.
Washi. Hi people. Washing made so easy since I found Washi. Washing me use wash me clothes and I can say Washi soap powder wash clothes so nice. Washi soap powder leave your clothes color bright. Washi soap powder leave me clothes smelling nice, of course. So give thanks to Washi soap powder for doing my laundry right. Keep my clothes color bright. Have my clothes smelling nice for sure. I could not ask for more. Comes in lemon and original. It is a washing machine in a pack. Washi soap powder wash clothes so nice. Washi soap powder leave your clothes color bright. Washi soap powder have my clothes smelling nice, of course.
Distributors located in the Starbrook Market.
It all starts with one. Maybe it's one look. You know the one. Or one touch. Even one word. I can start with one step. Or one promise. One thrill. One first time. One deep breath. One leap of faith. One day to remember. Or one night to forget. One moment. So many stories that make up one crazy, average, everyday, fabulous life. We get one life. Just one. Make your move. It all starts with one.
The Guyana Bar Association, which was one of the local observers at yesterday's elections, is reporting that the voting process was generally smooth and peaceful across the country. In a statement, the Bar Association said it dispatched a team of its members countrywide to observe the voting process, from the preparation to the opening of polls, voting, the close of polls, and counting of ballots. And that was done at about 500 polling stations across the country in over 105 polling places in Essequibo, Demerara, and Berbice. The Bar Association said while the process, including its observation status, is not yet complete since results have not yet been declared, the preliminary reports received at the current time from its observation team are that the voting process on Elections Day was generally peaceful and that the general and regional elections were observed to be free, fair, and transparent. The association has urged continued peace and patience while the Elections Commission enters the next stage of tabulating the results. The Bar Association has also extended its appreciation to the Elections Commission staff, who it said discharged their duties on Election Day with professionalism and competence under sometimes challenging conditions. The Guyana Elections Commission on Monday night apologized to persons living with disabilities, particularly those who had tremendous difficulty accessing their polling stations. But the Commission said overall voting was conducted smoothly and peacefully throughout the country, with limited reports of incidents. At a number of polling places, polling stations located in the upper flats of buildings were inaccessible to voters with disabilities, especially those who use wheelchairs.
And of course, rightfully so, to really apologize to the members of the disability community. I'm very cognizant that this is an issue that we continue to face. But again, what we are required to do legally in the operationalization or the placement of electors to polling stations within their respective divisions and subdivisions. And so in such a case, it mandates that unfortunately sometimes members of the disability community may be placed at a polling station that unavoidably does not have provisions such as ramps for them to access.
GECOM's Public Relations Officer, Yolanda Warder. She said ahead of Monday's elections, presiding officers were instructed to offer assistance to persons with disabilities to ensure they are able to vote. Overall, she said, voting went well across the country.
For us, the voting process has proceeded smoothly and peacefully across the country. Where issues have arisen, they have been addressed promptly and transparently in accordance with the law.
The public relations officer said despite claims that the voting process was slow at some polling stations, the Elections Commission is satisfied with official reports, which indicated that the process progressed smoothly and in accordance with established procedures. She added that the Elections Commission was confronted by a number of issues. There were complaints that voters were unable to locate their names on the voters list at the location where they had previously voted. Addressing the issue of the voters list, Ward explained that if a person's name was not on the list at a given polling station, he or she would have been unable to vote there, and it was therefore important for voters to verify their registration details in advance of polling day. On the issue of names of the deceased still being featured on the voters list, the GECOM PRO emphasized that the Elections Commission acts only within the confines of the Constitution.
Names can only be removed from an official with an official death certificate submitted to the General Register's office. Without it, names may remain until the next list revision cycle. This is a legal safeguard to prevent wrongful removal.
Ward said GECOM also received reports of police officers being present inside polling stations. This, she said, was prohibited, explaining that police officers are usually stationed outside of polling places unless their assistance is required by a presiding officer to address an issue in keeping with the electoral laws of the country. Other concerns related to the positioning of the voting compartments and issues relating to the smooth functioning of the websites were raised, she said. General Secretary of the PPP, Vice President Jagdeo, this evening said long ahead of yesterday's elections, he tried to warn the PNC reform-led APNU about the We Invest in Nations party, but it did not take heed. When the party, which is led by billionaire Azruddin Mohammed, who remains sanctioned by the US government, has made significant inroads in regions traditionally won by the PNC, including in Region 10. Figures suggest that Win won Region 10 by an overwhelming majority. In an interview with news source, Mr. Jagdeo said the APNU has nobody to blame but itself.
We sought to signal this to APNU. Several times at my press conference, I did this, that the Win party was going to do damage to APNU.
He also said several factors are responsible for the APNU showing at the elections.
One, that there are several people in APNU or who supported APNU in the past who did not want to support APNU again, and they were looking for a party that is not the PPP. So Win benefited from that. Secondly, they paid out a lot of money. This guy used a ton of money to induce people to vote for him. And thirdly, they were running a social media campaign based on lies, which resonated with a lot of young voters, voters who might be impressionable, and there was a large number, nearly 100,000 new voters on their list. So combination of those things led to Win displacing APNU as the party that is second ranked in these elections.
He said while the PPP Civic has been openly critical of Mohammed, the APNU has been skirting around the issues.
How they felt that by collaboration with Win, they will cause the PPP to become a minority government. And they almost encourage their supporters over time to speak favorable things about Win and Azruddin Mohammed, when basically this guy was a criminal-oriented person. But they tried to soften that by lending support to him with the...
Jagdeo said his party remains strong and is confident of going into the National Assembly with a majority when the final declarations are made. The Guyana Elections Commission on Monday night sought to address concerns about Bangladeshi nationals who are Commonwealth citizens voting in the elections. Opposition parties called on GECOM to come clean over reports of a number of Bangladeshi nationals seen being bussed around to polling stations to vote. On some of the national ID cards posted on social media, it was revealed that some of the ID cards were issued as recent as July. At a press conference last evening, Public Relations Officer at GECOM, Yolanda Ward, stressed that the ID cards issued to the nationals and labeled Commonwealth reflect their legal residency status and are valid for electoral purposes.
Under Guyana's laws, Commonwealth citizens residing legally in the country for over 1 year are eligible to vote.
Ward said the national registration extends eligibility to both Guyanese citizens and Commonwealth citizens residing in Guyana for more than 1 year.
The eligibility for registration is that you must be a Guyanese citizen by birth, descent, naturalization, or a citizen of a Commonwealth country living in Guyana for 1 year or more.
The GECOM Public Relations Officer also addressed concerns regarding voters without ID cards, explaining that those persons could have still voted in the elections once a procedure was followed, including them answering security questions and signing an oath.